Hey everyone, welcome to another video, and today we are going to do kind of like a small review of MK1. I haven't done something like this of the games I've played so far, but I thought I'd also do something special for Mortal Kombat because I've really enjoyed the series, the entire series so far, and yeah, let's talk a bit about like what I think about the game so far. This is like post story. I finished off the story. I played a bit of ranked online. I played uh, the invasion, the new invasion mode, single player mode. So we're gonna talk about a bit about those and what I think about the overall story as well, right? Uh, so first, let's talk about the game itself. The game is very clean. We love the character roster. We love the graphics. We love the performance of the game. Uh, the online gameplay tends to kind of like I mean, there's some follow up issues from the stress test so far. Uh, so yeah, small crashes here and there, mid game lags, but not too often. Once in a while, here and there, you get these odd matches, and but this is my perspective. This is what I've experienced in the game so far. So, but other than that, the the online rank, the combat league looks very clean. You get you get like the combat pass and all that. If you guys are interested in cosmetics and stuff like that, the customizations are back. It's all really good. You get customizations for the cameo characters as well. It's really nice. It's very interesting. Like the outfits are amazing. The accessories are not too much. Like I felt like the accessories back in MK11 were a bit too much because you get three different accessories that could be customized. But in this, they kind of like simplified a bit, which I kind of like enjoy because like it's not part of the core gameplay, and I don't want to be overwhelmed. This is just my opinion. You guys might enjoy it, but I really felt a bit overwhelmed by too many accessories because you have too many characters, too many accessories to look into and stuff like that. I mean, like you don't need to, but you feel like okay, maybe it's time for a change and stuff like that, right? So in this, you can generally just change like just one gear, so just one iconic gear. So in this, for example, for Scorpion, it's going to be the mask. Then you can change his color palette, and then some of the taunts you get in-game taunts this time, so that's new. And yeah, and you can change the finishers and stuff like that. That's about it, right? So yeah, so it's the masks for some guys, it's the hoodies for some others, it's the weapon for the rest, it's the helmet for some of them, the hat for Raiden, the hat for Kung Lao. So it's like the sword for Kenshi, and I think it's the sword for Ashtra as well. So yeah, just one gear item is customizable, right? Right, so that's done. Let's talk about a bit about the. So I was talking about the online gameplay as well. So I thought it was like, so the overall performance of the game, right? So I like the speed of the game. It's not as fast as MKX. I think a lot of people just still like the speed of MKX because you could just pull off ridiculous combos and you can run also in it. But uh, because and then in MK11 they said that they wanted to slow down the combo bit, the speed of the game, and they slowed it down and they and what I feel is it's resting in a point between MKX and MK11. It's not too fast and it's not too slow. It's I wouldn't say it's just right, but it's okay, right? I mean, like the speed has never bothered me, but it matters to some people. So uh, yeah, so that's one thing a lot of people talk about. I enjoy the yak combos. It just introduces a lot of new possibilities. The cameo characters are awesome, a bit annoying at times because like you know what I felt is the cameo characters like yeah it's just a whole new level of mastering, right? It's not an issue with the game, it's just an issue with skill at this point, and it's a really bitch to get some combos. Yeah, and there's a lot of experimentation to be done, right? The game is it's just came out. There's a lot of stuff to figure out. I'm still trying to. So I'm maining Johnny for now, right? I'm still trying to figure out some Johnny stuff, right? I would like to venture into different characters, but it takes so long for me, right? For me, not one. It's not the same for all people, but for me, it's gonna take some time to master. So I just spend a lot of time with Johnny and maybe just one cameo character who can complement Johnny's move utility. and that's about it. I'm just gonna focus on that for now. I can't focus on every character because it's really difficult to, like, to get really good in one with one character and then play some ladders and stuff like that. So that's what I think about the gameplay. Gameplay is like, for me, the gameplay is really good. Graphics, performance, I didn't find any issues. The invasion mode. So I did play a little bit about the invasion mode. It looks intriguing, but so it's like, so you get seasons, right? The game has seasons, so that's the combat lead system as well. You get seasons. So this is the first season, the season of fire or something like that. Where you get all the skins of Scorpion. It's all about and maybe before the invasion system, I just need to talk about the story. So let's talk about the story first, because the invasion system kind of like continues a bit, kind of like sidetracks from the story a bit, right? So let's talk about the story. So the timeline is reset by Liu Kang. Spoilers ahead. If you guys are watching, spoilers. I'll be discussing, if you guys have not watched my streams or anywhere else like the story, or you have not played or experienced it so far, I encourage you to do so if you want to see it firsthand. But I'll be talking a little bit about the story now. So let's talk about the story. So the timeline is reset. We're starting off a clean slate, right? So in this, Liu Kang is going to be the fire god. Raiden is just a regular mortal that we have here. We don't have Hanzo Hasashi as Scorpion. We have Kuai Liang, who's supposed to be Sub-Zero, the second Sub-Zero, but he is Scorpion, and Wei Han as a Sub-Zero. So a lot of these characters have like similar background stories to what they've had previously, but where I would say the major key differences are for basically Kuai Liang as Scorpion, Zyzoth Reptile, Baraka, and Melina, right? Tanya a bit as well, right? Tanya a bit. And the reason is this, because like they all have kind of like redemption arcs. They play for the good team. They play for the good side, right? They're not with the antagonist factions. They kind of like they kind of like build them. They've actually been given proper thought here, right? I mean, like, especially Melina, Reptile, and Baraka, because they're just how do I put this? Like, so let's take Baraka for instance. He's not actually, so there's no Tarkatan race in this. There's a disease called Tarka that mutates you into what he looks like, basically a Tarkatan. And yeah, that's it. And he does not have any ulterior motive or anything. Same goes for Reptile. They've given him a name, Zyzoth. He's the only one of his kind who can shapeshift into a human. So he has some sort of significance, I would say. He's not just like some generic henchman anymore. And he has a purpose as well, which is to rescue his family, but Shang Tsung betrays him and kills him off. So Zyzoth is also trying to redeem himself. And Melina, I think Melina has the biggest improvement of all, because she's no longer just, because everyone's been like Melina's just a clone of Kitana, blah 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 blah. She is her own character, but it's always a thing that she's always in Kitana's shadow, right? But in this, the two of them are actual twins. She's not a clone. She is infected with Tarkats, so she kind of like goes in between the Tarkatan form and her regular self at that time throughout the story, and she ends up becoming Empress, which, like in the previous game, she's wanted to become Empress by force and stuff like that, right? But in this, she actually inherits this through Sindel, and she is, and it's a really good improvement to her story, right? She's actually properly significant now. And Kitana has kind of like taken a bit of a back step here. And this timeline's Kitana, right? So the reason I'm saying that is because, well, towards the end of MK11, we were presented with two endings, right? One was the Liu Kang ending, the good ending, and one was the Shang Tsung ending, the bad. Apparently, in this, towards the end, we get to find out, and this was a really good plot twist, that both endings were canon, right? So apparently the battle plateau reality and blah blah blah, and multiple timelines coexist. Multiple timelines coexist next to each other, which is awesome, which is good, right? Which was a good this thing. Uh, so the Shang Tsung, who is the kind of like the keeper of time Shang Tsung, the Titan Shang Tsung, I must say. So he's interfering with Liu Kang's timeline, and that's where all the mess stems from, right? So it's a war between two timelines at this point, and which was really good, right? And what I feel is like maybe if they have plans for a sequel, like making a sequel to this, maybe they should have kind of like done that whole plot thing, and maybe they should have done this whole timeline war between Shang Tsung's and Liu Kang's, which have been fine, and they should have just ended it in a way where they kind of like halt Shang Tsung's progress and like what he was trying to do, like halt his plans, push him back to his timeline, and then maybe venture into the second game. But they kind of like wanted to finish off this entire. They kind of like wanted to finish off this entire timeline war between Liu Kang's timeline and Shang Tsung's timeline, and they kind of like rushed the ending, is what I felt. Right? They had a good thing going, and the ending felt so rushed. It was done quite good, the ending, because I think I liked the last fight. I liked the idea they had there, but it felt so rushed, right? Because in the span of like 3 or 4 chapters, that entire war just happened, right? Like from discovering Shang Tsung's plot, like so the Shang Tsung we have in this game is different to the Shang Tsung that Titan Shang Tsung, and our Shang Tsung ends up helping the good guys because he was betrayed by the Shang Tsung, by that Shang Tsung. So we get multiple variations of every character at this point, and 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 what and the best thing, and here's where it gets even weirder. So Liu Kang discovers that it's not that there are timelines that exist, there are other timelines. So basically there are so many timelines where every character in the roster has become a Titan, has defeated Chronica in MK1 and has become a Titan, and is the keeper of time, right? So there is a timeline where it's Raiden. There's a timeline, this timeline, the current timeline we're following is the one with Liu Kang. Then we have the Shang Tsung timeline, and then we have a Kitana timeline. There has to be a Johnny Cage timeline. There has to be a Melina timeline. Like every character gets a timeline where they're the keeper of time, and this is where I felt like it gets a bit. Oops. Are you okay? Oops, my cat was. My cat is coughing. Are you okay? Oh, he's sneezing. Okay, right. And this is where I felt like it gets a bit weirder, because like they kind of like overcomplicated this thing now. They could have kept it simple and kept it between the war between the two timelines, and maybe drag it to the next game. Yeah, they wanted to finish it off, which I understand, but maybe could have panned out a few more chapters. I think. Maybe they have an idea for a DLC. I don't know. They did that with MK11, but maybe there's a story DLC to continue, because they. All right. So what they did was, right. What Netherlands Studios ended up doing was, so Liu Kang goes around multiple timelines recruiting every version of the fighter, because Shang Tsung wants to destroy all the timelines, right? And he wants to either he wants to conquer all the timelines, right? The Titan Shang Tsung. So Shang Tsung recruits people in his favor from across the timelines. Liu Kang recruits people in his favor from across the timelines. And there's like an Armageddon battle, and it is a recreation of the entire Armageddon game, right, with the pyramid and everything. And that was cool. That was really well done. But I felt it was a bit funny, right? It was a bit gimmicky, because like at the end of in the last battle, you get to choose which character you want to play, right? You can play as any character you want in the final battle. It could be anyone. And I picked Johnny because I was good with fighting. I was good with Johnny's. I main Johnny, so I won't play Johnny. And you fight like crazy variations of different characters, and you find like combinations of characters as well. I fought a Johnny Cage Ashra combination. I fought a Quan Chi Sub-Zero combination, like different weird variations. I felt like that was like I felt like them mixing two characters just create like a generic secondary character just to fight along the way to the top of the pyramid. I just felt like it was really, it was funny, right? It was a bit difficult to take because that final battle, you didn't feel like it was like a final battle, right? You don't feel like, oh shit, like the suspense. You don't feel the suspense, the thrill of the final battle. Not it's not like, it wasn't like in MK11, right? This felt there was hardly any character deaths and stuff like that, uh, and it felt very gimmicky, I would say. And then so you beat Shang Tsung, right? Liu Kang kind of like erases them from existence. Him and Quan Chi, like from Shang Tsung's timeline, and um, apparently the timeline falls apart. Shang Tsung's timeline, so they all escape from there. Everything's back to good, but in the post-credit scene is where it gets a bit more confusing because we go back and the timeline still exists. There's no issue with it, and then there's like a Titan Havoc, just with his henchman, um, just saying that you know this war did not last too long. The next one will last longer. Basically, he's saying that he's gonna stir up trouble now, right? And at that point, like what I felt is like I felt like a bit like lazy writing to me because it felt like a repetition, right? So we had the plot was Shang Tsung, the Titan Shang Tsung, waging a timeline war against Liu Kang's timeline, and then since they quickly ended that in the span of 3 or 4 chapters, and now Havoc, this Titan Havoc from his own timeline, is planning to do the same, and it makes no sense. Like it makes no sense as to what the thought process was like as to what his motivation is for doing for even doing this. I mean, like I mean, at least um, at least like in the previous MK games, we get like new characters, new antagonists, and a new plot to go along with it. But for some reason, like but for some reason, this felt very off to me. Like, it's just my personal opinion. Like, I don't have anything against the game. I still think the story was really good. I like what they did with each of the characters, but the ending just felt really off to me, if I'm being honest. And yeah, I mean, like they could have a DLC where we fight Havoc, or they could just put this off to the next game, MK2. I'm not sure, but it's going to be very interesting to see where they go on from here. The game is still really good, right? Because the whole point of MK, it is a fighting game. It's meant for tournaments and competition, so the story has never been too important, right? Story, story isn't important, but Netherm Studios have done such a good job with the stories so far, especially from MK9, X, and 11. I think the stretch they had here was really good. It was really good. I felt like a bit of a disappointment towards the end, like how they ended it. Uh, because yeah, it just feels like a repetition at this point as to what's going to happen. So yeah, because like the final fight, I didn't feel anything, no urgency, no suspense, no nothing. Like, oh shit, this could be the end of the world kind of stuff, shit like that. Because MK11, you could feel that, especially in the DLC, when you thought like this could be the end because everyone was dying, Shang Tsung was killing everyone. So yeah, from MK11. So I'm not sure how to feel about that, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, because the only character, because we've seen non-roster characters as well, right, throughout this entire timeline war, right? We saw Cassie Cage, variations of Cassie Cage, like as NPCs. Cassie Cage, um, Jax, but he has a cameo as well, so that's fine. Jax, then shit, I forgot. Uh, is it Jackie? Yeah, Jackie. Jax's daughter, Jackie. We saw Kung Jin. We saw Kenshi's son. I forgot. Takeda. Takeda. We saw Takeda as well. So we saw like other characters as well. We didn't see Ferrothor. Uh, we didn't see Onaga. No, but we saw some of the other characters as well whom we didn't think we would see. Uh, Ermac was a surprise, but Ermac is coming as a DLC. That was. Oh my goodness, Ermac. Ermac also ends up. Ermac was really crazy. Ermac story arc. So he's Jared now, like the king of Edenia, and that's crazy. But he's coming as a DLC character later, from the first combat pack. So that'll be fine. No, but all that aside, I think there's one iconic character they did mention, but they did not reveal him or anything. They might be saving him for later, and that was Shinnok, right? And if a Titan Shinnok showed up at the end, that would have been crazy because shit's about to go down in the next game. But then it was just Havoc. I wouldn't be surprised if Havoc ends up working for Shinnok, like Titan Shinnok, but I really don't like this Titan business. Like it's like, yeah, it's like every character gets a Titan form. Like, yeah, man, I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah, I mean, story I would give it like a, because of how it ended. It started off being like a solid 9 and went off being a 5 in the end. But over a game, I would give it like an. I mean, like over a game, I would give it like a 10 out of 10 because I do enjoy fighting games. So yeah, okay. Now let's talk about the invasion mode, right? So what exactly do we get in this invasion mode? So the invasion mode is basically like, so every season is like a timeline invasion from a different timeline. So in this one, you're getting invaded by Scorpion, and this is the Hanzo Hasashi Scorpion as well, from a different timeline. So he's invading, and you're trying to prevent it. There's a bit of RPG elements in this. This, like, you can buy shops, you can upgrade certain items, and things like that. So there's a bit of an RPG element in this. It's like a mix between. It's kind of like a very limited sandbox type ish thing. So yeah, which is fine. Like, it's not too bad or anything. It might get interesting. I just played earlier, just 1 or 2 levels so far, so I'm not sure what to expect. But yeah, it feels okay. It's good for people who enjoy good like single player modes. So yeah, it's a single player adventure that changes each season, right? And the towers, yeah, so it's just classic Mortal Kombat towers, but I am not. I still haven't ventured into this. I'll be doing a few towers in my streams later, but yeah, so that's how I feel about the game. Uh, in summary, gameplay is awesome, performance is awesome, characters are awesome, story started awesome, was going good, ended on a very in a funny. It was comical towards the end, so that's how I'd say. Uh, yeah. All in all, like, so I'm not disappointed with the games anyway at all. Just the story was a bit of a letdown towards the end. That's about it. That's all I can say. I love the customizations. I love the simplicity of the customizations, and yeah, that's about it. That's all I can say for the game. We'll see how much they support the game. Like, they're going to include so many seasons and things like that. So we'll see how far it goes. So yeah. So right. So that's all. That's pretty much it. Um, did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. Yeah, man, that ending. I'm still thinking about it, man. It was just such a hilarious ending. Like, just seeing funny variations of each of your characters, and yeah, it just quickly ends, man. It didn't feel there wasn't any substance at all. It didn't feel like, at no point did you feel like everything, like something was going to go wrong. So yeah, that's it. I hope you guys, have a blast playing this game. If you have not watched any of my streams or anything, I would tell you to like go watch it in someone else's stream, experience the story, or play the game and experience the story. It is quite good. I mean, if you can just get over the ending. I'm not sure. I'm not very confused about the ending. Like I wouldn't I would have expected something better. But yeah, it's just my opinion. So yeah, do like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications if you enjoy my content. And as always, I wish you guys a good day, good night if it's night for some of y'all, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.